Hello? Am I making noise now? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Welcome. Hello, everybody. And welcome to the second Hayden IRL TCG tournament. This one in support of the Jon Herndon Foundation. For those of you who do not know, the Jon Herndon Foundation is a nonprofit out of Southwest Virginia that supports families who are taking on a financial burden while battling cancer. It was started after the passing of Jon Herndon in 2018 by his family. I'm very excited to get this tournament started, and also it's a bit of a special roster for this tournament compared to last time. This time we have all VTubers, essentially, roughly, with small exceptions. So that kind of gets everything out of the way. Links for more info and for donations are in the bottom, but I know what you guys are here for is a tournament. So I'm going to queue up our tournament playlist, because you can't play without it. And let's get this gaming started. So first up, let me bring up our bracket. And our first match we are going to do is between Inky and iSuicide, who are second on this bracket for reasons not completely necessary. So I'm going to call them in, and we are going to get this gaming started. And cue up the music that I should have queued before I started playing. Uno momento. Almost there. Where is it? There we go. Nope. Alright. We've got the music started. I'm coming through. Let the guys know if there is like a mixing problem, because I can fix that. And without further ado, let's start inviting some players. Awesome. Oh no, I'm not signed in chat. Mamma mia. Okay. It's live. I am bringing it up. And this is the footage from Inky's POV. And you'll be able to tell by his marvelous avatar drawn by yours truly. Let me bring it up. You could tell that I don't stream because I was not completely prepared to bring up their footage. But we're learning about it together, and that's what matters. And now Inky's in the chat. I'm seeing him double. Am I crazy? Ah! This is awkward. Let's try this. Just let the music flow through you for a second while I get this working. See, I would feel bad about not having this ready, but Pokemon TCG Live does not have a spectator feature, so it's not my fault that this is as difficult as it is to get working. There they are. And let's just make them fit. We're getting there. We're getting there. I also wish there was a spectator mode. I think it's one of the worst parts of TCG Live in general. Okay. That's probably good. I'll adjust it too as needed. But you are good to go. It is now time to begin. And this first match is between not the people listed. As stated, we had a bit of a change to the bracket. So while we wait for them to get started, I'm going to make a quick change. Yes, this is a match between a Flareon deck using a lot of the cards we've seen now in Prismatic Evolutions versus a future deck, I guess, is how you would describe that. And honestly, with the way that Inky's deck is, which, let me write their names down, sorry, I can't type and write at the same time. Even just starting out with Hoot Hoot is okay, because Noctowl is such a good card for setup that if he can get it out. And even better for setup is Fan Rotom, because he can get 3 colorless Pokemon with 100 HP or less, which not only means he can get his EVs, but also get Noctowl to evolve his Hoot Hoots, which is huge. And let me and that's using the ability Fan Call, which Fan Rotom is also added in Prismatic Evolutions for the pure sake of getting out EVs, because that whole set was based on EVs. Not that I'm telling you anything that you don't know, because I'm sure everyone has heard a metric ton about that set recently. Whether or not you've been able to open it, I can't say, but I'm definitely sure you've heard about it. From a sigh. Oh, a little bit of lag. That's okay. We've got Iron Thorns out, which is a core aspect of this deck. It's not the number one. This deck is really based around Iron Hands. I guess I should have called it an Iron Hands deck, but let's see, make sure all's good. A little bit of technical difficulties. Once again, very actively could just be part of Pokemon TCG Live as well, and how it runs. But he's starting to get his setup out with Iron Hands and Iron Crown on the field, and that's really 3 of the 4 main cards in this whole deck. So it's easy to say that Asai is getting, or Aisu is getting a much stronger start. But also, that's kind of the nature of that deck, where it's mostly basic Pokemon. Even the not EX ones are basic, so everything comes out very quick. Having Iron Thorns in the active slot makes it so that any Pokemon with a Rule Box does not have an ability, except for future Pokemon, which are kind of the whole point of that deck. So no risk, all reward. And Iron Hands is setting up quick. For those of you who don't know Iron Hands, it has its attack amp you very much, which is, you know, silly. If it KOs a Pokemon, you get an extra prize card, which is kind of insane, but it's relatively fragile compared to some other EX Pokemon, but it's also basic, so it's a trade-off. So now we get Flareon on the field, which is a huge part of this deck strategy, is the Terra Flareon. I accidentally put Eevee on the board. Ignore that. And like I said earlier, Noctowl is used to get cards from the deck, making it for a good starter card to have. I'm having some microphone trouble. Technical difficulties. I'm also going to blame this on TCG Live, if I'm being honest. This deck, Terra deck, as is most Terra decks, uses a lot of different energies, especially one that has different evolutions, kind of like we see in previous evolution decks. You have a lot of different basic energies to use. So cards that let you get basic energies regardless of color are very helpful. And you get extra energies so that you can call back Noctowl. And I think we're gonna see... Oh, not yet. I was gonna say, I think we're gonna see our first damage on the board, but... Looking for another Pokemon. Is it my fan in the background? Someone had mentioned background noise. It might be my fan, or the air conditioning. Alright, so Flareon makes the first impact of the game using its Burning Charge attack, which also lets Inky put 2 energy on his Pokemon. It kind of perpetuates in that way. Oh, we're having... Oh, that's better. Yay! We are having some more technical difficulties on Aisu's end, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with spending a little bit more time together as we assess what is going on the board. Now Inky has not only Flareon EX, Terra, but Eevee out, which Eevee has the ability Rainbow DNA, which lets it evolve into any Pokemon EX that evolves from Eevee. Which is helpful in this deck because there is both Flareon and, if I believe, Sylveon is in this deck as well. So Yeah, thank you, Kaylee. You get a shout out for turning off the fan and now letting me be able to let my voice come through loud and clear, or as clear as I can be. We've now got 2 Noctowls on the board, meaning even more searching through the deck. But what will he find? Glass Trumpet. Nope, never mind. Super Rod. And I can't actually remember that person's name. Crispin. Sorry, I had to lean in. My eyes aren't what they used to be. Terra Orb and Boss's Orders. Boss's Orders is probably a good choice in this case because that Iron Hands in the background is setting up. And with another Burning Charge, Iron Thorns is gone. And another energy on EVEX in the back line. Oh. So far it's looking like a quite commanding... Oh. I think that was part of technical difficulties we're seeing on one player's end. So I'm gonna see. That doesn't quite feel too exciting. So let's see. Because that's no fun at all for anyone. I'd hate for someone's Wi-Fi to be what knocks them out of winners, especially in the case of this tournament where it took me, how long, 20 minutes to even get set up? Let's see, we'll let the players figure that one out. And I'm gonna switch back to me. Oh, what happened to my lights? This is awkward. Just can't catch a break these days. Someone moved my lights. There we go. Thanks, production. Anyway, we are gonna run that one back later, I believe, because that's no way for that round to end. So, in that case, I'm gonna switch back to our bracket for what originally was gonna be our round 1, which is Dougal versus Sylvari. Let me shout out to them. And while they are getting ready, I want to ask all of you all if you've gotten any Pokemon cards recently. Because let me tell you, I've not. I've gotten 1 pack, I think, since probably even before Prismatic Evolutions came out, but since Prismatic, I've only seen Pokemon cards 1 time that weren't, you know, marked up $100. But I opened Journey Together just yesterday. Alright. They are getting ready to stream it. You guys like my bracket? I made it myself, if you can't tell. And once it's time for someone to move up, I can drag them around. Last time I thought my bracket was so ugly that I spent a long time. You're waiting them to print more? Yeah, honestly that's fair. I know a lot of people, some people have completely dropped the card game entirely until there's more. And Pandora said it's been a while and they only collect Pokemon they like. That is how Kaylee is. She has binders, multiple binders of just the Pokemon that she likes, which I think is a great way to do it, personally. I'm going to, let's see. Oops, that turned off. Eyes stream. You can tell that this is not my forte. Right, stream is back up. And let's switch back over. Oh, it's showing my DMs and stuff. Yikes, let's crop this. I like that we get to go on this journey together, guys. I also would love for Discord notifications to not come through, because I assume you guys can hear that as well. Fun, fun. I'm getting great information right now about popping out this window. How do I do that? Am I crazy? Oh, there's my Discord settings. That could have been bad. Oh, found it. Thank you. See, we're all doing it together. That's not what I wanted. Haha. Alright, we have Dougal versus Isilvari, which is, let me check, make sure I know what each deck is. We've got Dragapult from Dougal, and I actually don't know for sure if I know who Isilvari is playing, so that'll be exciting for everyone. We'll find out together. It is a grass deck. That's fun. I actually don't know who the star of such a deck would be, but they're starting out with Bulbasaur out in the front. This is a little bit too cropped. Oh, they're moving so fast. Alright. Sorry, we finally got that going. And we also have Badoo on the board, which... Let me update theirs. Badoo makes it so that for 0 energy, you can make your opponent unable to play item cards from their hand, which is kind of insane and has gotten a lot of attention recently from players of pretty much every deck, because it takes no energy. It's basically free oppression. You don't know what you're doing? That's okay. That's kind of the whole fun, if I'm being honest. What you are doing, is evolving Ivysaur. And taking our first prize card of the game. That is I taking out Badoo, the trade-off for the 0 energy oppression is only 30 HP, so even a basic Pokemon that might take 1 energy can take it out in 1 hit. But that extra time that you get bought from keeping your opponent from using items is worth it, I think. And obviously Dougal does too, because he has the time to get out 3 Dreepies and rare candy, one of them into Dragapult EX. For a quick KO, because unfortunately Isilvari could not pull another basic Pokemon. That is an unfortunate part of this game, is that not only do you have 6 prize cards, but if you lose all of your basic, or if you lose all of your Pokemon on the field, then that is an elimination. So no matter how good you play, if your draws aren't there, then there's nothing you can do. Especially in the case of Bidoof being out, where you can't play item cards, you can't find more basics, like with Netball or Buddy Buddy Poffin. So that's okay. It's a luck of the draw kind of thing. And if you are a big Isilvari fan, they're not gone. They'll be back in losers. But until that happens, I am going to update our beautiful bracket and move I down to losers and move Dougal up to winners round 2, and then let's get him in here. Let me let's get him called in here. Hello. That was a quick win, wasn't it? You are one of the only people, this is gonna be a spoiler, but I will say there's not much Bidoof action in this tournament, and I was really excited to see it, and it kind of gave us exactly what you want to see from it. Because even with how good of a setup you had, of course, helped too. But without it, you still had so much oppression in such an early game that there's not much that could have been done. And that's what Bidoof's all about. I love cards like that. Honestly, oh. Even better. That means we're gonna get double Bidoof action, Lord willing, that is. I wrote down everyone's deck. I wrote you down as Dragapult, but I should have written you down as Bidoof, because honestly, he was the star of this show, and hopefully, he'll continue to carry you through when we see you again in a later match. Great job. I'm gonna send you back now. See you later. You couldn't hear him? Well, that's awkward. I wonder why that is. I think the music was too loud. I should probably mute the music when people are, but I think you guys got the gist of that chat. It's all about Bidoof all the time. And let's start looking into our next match, if we can. And that will be between we did not hear the interviewee. Yeah, I'll hopefully have that fixed in the next one. And if not, we'll fix it together, because that's kind of the nature of this whole thing. It's a big teamwork event. Next, we have QB Buzz and Lucy Lightbringer, which I'm going to call them in now. For those who don't know, because I've talked about it before on stream, I think I talked about it in the last tournament, and not much has changed. I'm still a big Charizard player. I just love Charizard. Not the Pokemon as much as the deck. I mean, the Pokemon's cool too, but what really renewed my love of Charizard is Duskull and the ability to damage people on, like, for nothing, just with an ability. Sorry, I'm adjusting my chair. Okay. Yes. Silly cards, I think, are the best part of the Pokemon card game, and that applies to Budew and Duskull, or Duskanor, I guess, actually. It's the Duskull line. Things like using abilities to do a bunch of damage for nothing. Bandit, who does damage based on the cards in your opponent's hands. Things like that are so silly and fun, and really make this card game much more fun for me. So whenever this stream is up, we will have a next match, and I think I did a little bit of foreshadowing there, because if I recall, one of our players will have Charizard. Let's find out, because the stream is up. I'm popping it out, as I've learned so kindly needs to be done. And nice! See, we're figuring it out. And let's change our names while they get inviting. This is Lucy versus QB. One thing that I was very excited about going into this specific event is, as you do with any good tournament, I had my competitors give me deck lists, and let me tell you, there's a lot of variety here. Even just in the matches we've already seen, we have seen 4 different decks, and I believe there's only one deck that's repeated between all of them. Yes, it's Charizard EX. And that's not the one that's repeated. I'm just excited to see it. This is a deck I know probably better than any other current deck. If I recall, QB is playing a Xianpao deck, which is another deck that's actually been popular since the beginning of the Scarlet and Violet era, or at least towards the beginning. But it now has the addition of Glaceon, which, sorry, got a drink, makes this deck even more fun. I like Xianpao. It was a starter deck, and it's one of the few times until recently that we had starter decks made of actual good decks, like that weren't in the, whatever they're called, special edition starter decks, because now we have like a Charizard, real trainer, whatever, starter deck, which is really cool too, but they just had like a normal $7 Xianpao starter deck, which gave you some really good cards for cheap. Will that deck be good enough to beat out Charizard? Hard to say. Dark Charizard does get rid of Charizard's water weakness, which does make this deck a little less effective as a counter. But we're really at a point where tier lists and deck matchups matter way less than just playing the game. QB does represent Glaceon with their Glaceon deck sleeves, which is awesome. And so it is Growlithe and Frigibax on the field. QB is starting off strong with Frigibax and Ultra Ball, I assume, to get out Baxcalibur. But, oh, Xianpao. That makes sense too. I can't see what she's got going on in her hand. So, once again, having a spectator mode would be nice. But they're getting out their Xianpao early, which is also a great choice. You want something with a decent amount of HP on the field in case Charizard sets up quick. and can take out what you've got. And speaking of starting up quick, Lucy has 2 Charmanders on the field already, and what's that? 3 energy. If I recall correctly, this is not just a Dark Charizard deck, it's also got normal Charizard EX from 151, as you saw, and then I believe Arcanine EX as well. So it's a lot more fire heavy, which is a good use of the many fire energies that you already have to have. Very not attack heavy game so far. They're both kind of just taking their time to set up, which unfortunately for QB is looking a little bit more in Lucy's favor. Because now she's able to deal 70 and take out Frigibax. Is that Frigibax? I'm pretty sure it's Frigibax, Arctibax, Baxcalibur. I'm looking at it on a much smaller screen than I probably need to be. Shanpao out to the front. 1 of 2 on the field. And it's also getting her energy engine running. So this is a very fast-moving match, especially compared to what we've seen so far. We've got 2 decks that are very quickly reaching full capacity pretty quick. But that is if QB has somewhere in all of those cards something to get more things out on the field. Instead, it looks like she is stalling by forcing Lucy to have her Charmander out in front. So no energies, Charmander can't really attack, making it so that Lucy has to just keep setting up and can't start whittling away at Shanpao. Unless she gets something good here, which... definitely not bad. Oh, I forgot that they had professors researched those into discard. So actually, Sheila's looking in a pretty good position, getting everything back into her deck. But no attacking. While QB sets up her field again, as a reminder, this tournament is in support of the Jon Herndon Foundation, which is a charity out of Southwest Virginia to support local families who are suffering from the financial burden that comes along with battling cancer. If you would like more information, it is in the description along with a link to donate. I'm so thankful that all of these wonderful creators came out to help me support what is a charity that is very close to my heart. Speaking of close, it's looking like QB is close to getting 2 Baxcaliburs out on the field. But not before putting Power Glass on Shanpao, which will allow it to get energy even quicker. And let me see if I can bring it up so you can see. Shanpao can discard water energy from all of QB's Pokemon in play to deal extra damage, which they didn't need that much extra damage. It's 60 damage per water energy, and Charmander just doesn't have the HP to withstand that. So that is the first prize card taken on both ends. The game did not ramp up as quickly as I first expected, but it is still keeping competitive. Attacks are still being thrown. On both sides. We're seeing Arven, which is 1 item and 1 Pokemon tool. The only one Lucy had though is TM Evolution, which she might use. It allows for you to evolve Pokemon on your bench. She's going to choose, however, to just attack, which is valid to start whittling away at the Xianpao instead of putting Charizard at the front of what is once again ramping up to be a dangerous energy machine. Rare Candy, seeing our first Baxcalibur of the game. I put the wrong Baxcalibur artwork. Anyway, that is 2 water energy into QB's hand, and then using Baxcalibur, those energies get moved on to the bench. This is one of those decks that I like to refer to as a well-oiled machine. Once it gets running, you just use the abilities, and it's, I don't want to say it's hard to mess up, but it is tried and true, you know? Trusted. Another boss's orders, this time for Charmeleon, trying to take out that Charizard before it can even set up, which is an awesome move. Kind of makes you think that TM Evolution could have been a good idea, but if all of those energies were out and Charizard was, it would have been 2 prize cards instead of 1. So it's really, there's no right call to make in these situations. It's whatever you think might be best in the moment. Only allowing for 1 prize card to be gotten in this situation where it's not like those energies are being used and gotten rid of. This is a machine that's going to keep getting those energies. It's better just to lose 1 prize card than to lose 2. Or I guess have your opponent lose 2. I'm thinking of it a little bit reversed there. This little Growlithe is taking on a beast, having done 170 damage to that Xianpao. Part of which due to its Defiance Band, which lets it do extra damage now that QB has taken more prize cards. But like clockwork, that's 2 water energies into the hand, and now water energies from the hand to the field. This is a tough spot for Lucy to be in. She needs something from the deck that lets her reset her hand, or just draw the perfect card, but that's more likely when you have more cards in your hand. We might, however, be seeing the end of this Growlithe, because no matter what, that Hail Blade is going to be strong enough to take them out and leave QB with 3 prize cards remaining. It is a bit of a deficit from Lucy in this match, but with boss's orders, she could buy herself some time. That is wait, it's happening. An evolution, or there was supposed to be, but there's no Charmeleons left in their deck for them to find, making it so the TM was for naught. And with the energy movement that you get from Xianpao, oh, I'm a little quieter all of a sudden. Is that better? with the energy movement that you get from Xianpao, the retreat cost isn't exactly a huge fear. Earthen Vessel allows for another energy to come into the hand. Still quiet. Is that better? Are we back? Are we so back? Xianpao's back in the front, and it's not looking good for Moltres. Energies are still being brought out just in case, even though it's definitely starting to look like a bit of a closed case. And with another Hailblade, that is Moltres. Well, I was trying to time that with the actual KO, but they're thinking a little bit. There it is, 120 damage, the perfect amount to take out Moltres, leaving just a 70 HP Charmander up against a wall of Ice-type Pokemon and Eevee. And only getting boss's orders kind of just brings up the same situation as earlier, where boss's orders isn't great in a deck, or against a deck where the energies can just come out to let your Pokemon retreat. QB using Iono, allowing for us to see what could have been, or what could be for Lucy. And a Growlithe, a basic Pokemon. Once again, not too much at this point, but at least... I don't know what that animation was. Sorry. At least they had another Pokemon with them, but even though it wasn't prize cards, it was another match lost to not having enough basic Pokemon on the bench. You hate to see it, but a really good game played from both sides. It's really tough with a deck based on fire types to go against a deck. Even though it's based on ice types, there's still water energies going around. And a deck like Xianpao, I think, has a little more consistency to how it sets up, making it hard to in a match where setting up quick means a lot. So back to our bracket. Hello, that is QB. Oops. Moving on to round 2, and Lucy is on to losers. And let's bring in our winner from that match and have a little bit of a talk. And hopefully this time you'll be able to hear them. Let me also, while I'm doing it, try and turn off the notification sounds. And I'm gonna let you guys look at the bracket so I don't accidentally reveal any personal information on my Discord. I'm creating a silent Discord experience. Awesome. Let's get QB in here to have a conversation. Wait 1 second. This music's still going. All right, hello? Can you guys hear? Can you guys hear them chat? Hello? What a good game. That was exactly what we like to see from Xianpao, the well-oiled machine. They can't hear you, so actually, save that thought for 1 second. Let's find out why. Oh, that's really not cool. Okay. Okay. That makes sense, I think. Window audio captures from Discord. So true. I'm also using Stream Elements now. This is the first time using Stream Elements, so with something new, yeah. I had already started. That could be happening now, and people are just too nice to let me know. Window capture. Okay. And then... Oh, nope, didn't go through. Yeah, I could see why you wouldn't use Stream Elements now. I'm starting to see what you were on. Oh, lovely. Oh, what in the world? Alright. Can you guys hear that now? Is anything coming through? Am I going crazy? Properties. Am I going crazy? Do I just have it set to like not? Nope. Oh my goodness. Oh, capture audio? Wait a second. Alright. Say something?
Hello.
I think I saw the little bar went up. I think that means
Yeah.
something.
That means something.
Alright. Chat. Double check my work. I forgot.
So sad.
Things are delayed. Oh, okay.
Streamed that last game. I was commenting so much.
They heard. It was a great game. It was a good game to have to comment over. And I'm glad, as the person doing commentary, because that, like I said earlier, is exactly what we want to see out of Xianpao.
For sure.
The well-oiled machine. You had 2 Baxcaliburs out, 2 Xianpaos out, a movement like 3 to 4 water energy every turn.
Yep.
And a fire deck to go against, which is really hard to complain about playing a water deck.
Yeah, another reason why I love like Xianpao and just ice Pokemon in general in the TCG is they're all weak to steel and not electricity or grass. So I found that steel is probably like the most underplayed deck type.
Almost for sure.
Most people really go into like dark or fire in my experience, especially with like Charizard EX, with how strong he is.
It's nice too to be able to play ice types, because that's not a luxury you have too often in the actual games, because they are weak to a lot more than just steel.
Yeah.
And as a huge ice type fan, I love to see that.
And the most I've done with this deck is I added Glaceon EX into it, just because I've been finding in this meta there's a lot of people that play with bench abilities similar to me.
Yeah.
But a lot of their bench abilities are just freaking bonkers. Like there's the Dusknoir, I think, can just kill itself in another Pokemon.
That is probably my favorite card right now. For exactly that reason. It's just bonkers.
So Glaceon EX does really well with like just chipping damage onto the backboard whenever it's attacking. So until I can get Shimpao out, that's why I like to fall back on.
I was definitely excited when I saw that the deck had Glaceon in it, and maybe in the future we'll be able to see even more of it as we see more decks that have those little guys on the bench, little silly guys.
Little fellas, little silly guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in and talking for a little bit, and hopefully we'll see you here again after your next winners match. I'm gonna let you.
Oh, you know you will.
Let you go back. See you later then.
Bye. Bye.
All right, let me reset my TV, and I'm also, if you all do not mind, while the next players get set up, I'm going to check if I'm doing this bracket correctly. Our next match is going to be Pandora versus Kumachi. And let's call one of them in. Start streaming this match for us. And in the meantime, let me check my work on this bracket. Also, sorry if you can hear my keyboard. I like them clicky. Oh yeah, I forgot that we had to skip the one match, so Lucy would actually be down there. See? That's why you double check. They are about ready. Switch over to me. Oopsie daisy. And while we wait for them to get set up, let me just remind you guys about what we're all in it for, and that is the Jon Herndon Foundation, a small charity out of Southwest Virginia, raising money for families who are currently battling cancer. Along with the emotional turmoil that comes with the disease, there's a lot of a financial burden, medical bills, food, and everything else around, and this charity does a lot of work to help support families who are going through that, to kind of help alleviate the stress that goes along with something that's already so stressful. They are almost ready. How exciting. And they're almost there, so I have the opportunity to talk about, where is it? We've got donations. How exciting. This is what it's all about, supporting others through charity. And now that I can bring those up, we have a $15 donation from Pandora, who's about to go on. How exciting. Thank you so much, Pandora, for your contribution. And this might be a bribe. I don't know. We'll see. And next, we have a donation from One True Ant for $100. That is half of our goal in one donation alone. So thank you so much, One True Ant. That I know means a lot to me and everyone who's out here working for such a great cause. Thank you so much. And now, I believe, let's get into our game. That is so exciting. I'm kind of at a loss. I was not expecting anything so crazy, especially so early. We just started. We're not even through winners round 1. One True Ant's really the GOAT. And I don't even know if they're in my chat or someone else's. So hopefully they hear this thank you. I'm gonna find them later. I'll make sure they know. No deed goes... I want to say unpunished. No good deed goes unrewarded. So we'll make sure they hear this thank you. That's beautiful. They are currently setting up their match. And now it's there. Good. I was running out of things to say without creeping One True Ant out. Let me pop this out and let's switch over back to our gameplay. Oops. Earthen Vessel. Hello there. All right. So we are watching from Pandora's point of view. She is also playing a Dragapult deck. And Kumachi... Oh, this takes so long to load these words. Kumachi is deciding if they want to go first or not. Alright, my words are working again. Pandora starting out immediately with Duskull. You know how excited that I am about that. But also it is kind of a scary Pokemon to be your only basic Pokemon on the field. A double-edged sword it is. Alright. Names are updated just in time for the fields to get set up. So this is Dragapult versus a fairy deck, actually, starring Tinkaton, as you can see now, with them coming out. Which, in terms of the actual game, Fairy would be huge against Dragapult, but I actually don't remember... Oh, yeah, I forgot. Dragons don't have weaknesses in the card game. I was gonna say, I don't remember if it was Fairy, but no weakness, so that's not playing out for them. I guess it's because they took out the Fairy type. Regardless, this is a good setup for both players, really. Getting Togepi and Gimmighoul out, those are two huge setup Pokemon for Tinkaton's deck. And then on Pandora's field, we've got two Dreepies and a Duskull. So 3 important Pokemon for each player. And the game is mad that Pandora is not attacking, but it's not actually a damage attack, so she might not need it. And that's okay. Tinkatuff. We've got 2 evolutions on the field for Kumachi. One of which being Goldingo EX, which is a drawing card. It lets you draw an extra card if it is in the active slot, which we just saw. That was actually perfect timing. Lily's Clefairy EX would be eating good in this matchup. Oh, if you only knew, Isu, what I might know about this deck. But who knows? We'll see. That is exciting, though. Lily's Clefairy EX, which I actually do not have a display of, so I'll just have to tell you what it does, makes it so that dragon types are weak to fairies, quote-unquote. Which is exactly what I was just talking about, and actually forgot about, so thank you, Isu, for bringing that up. I knew it was in this deck, but I forgot that's what it did. That will be huge if Kumachi can get their hands on that. Damage has been dealt to Duskull. One more hit will be the end for it, and really Duskull only... I don't want to say that Duskull doesn't do anything on its own, but it's really only there to become Duskanor or Dusclops to deal that extra damage. So now that it's got 50 damage on it, it's going to retreat, so that if it's going to go out, it's going to go out on its own terms and deal some extra damage. Does Kumachi have the tech? Honestly, I think so. I didn't even think about that. I personally forgot that people were playing Dragapult. In general, no one going into this knows each other's deck lists, but something like Lily's Clefairy sets up just against Dragapults in general. I'm trying to think of any other dragon types that are big right now. Either way, we're seeing Nemona for some extra draw. That's kind of a lot of what Tinkaton does, is get cards in the hand so that it can deal big damage once Tinkaton EX comes out with its big hammer attack, which does 30 damage for every card in your hand. That is why you want to get Goldingo for those 2 draws. We'll see Toka Kiss out in the future for even more drawing. And deal that big damage. They are thinking about something. Pandora is having, I don't want to say a slower setup, but they are definitely not getting out all of their tech cards, and actually are having a little bit of trouble getting out their main cards too. That Goldingo EX is dealing heavy damage for very little energy cost. Duskull's going back out essentially as cannon fodder to buy time for that Dreepy to evolve. It's really a tough spot for Pandora to be in here. But we are getting an evolution for Dreepy, meaning that next turn, Dragapult EX can come out. Which, even if it can't deal, all that crazy damage, it can still survive a hit from Goldingo, meaning we're not quite out yet. Pandora is in a tough spot here and is having to play extraordinarily tight. And she's going to start by letting Duskull do some damage, something you don't see too often, but in a deck that needs psychic energy, something that can happen when it needs to. I kind of like the last, actually the last Dragapult deck we saw, saying that it should have been a Bidoof deck. I honestly should have called this a Goldingo EX deck, because it is really putting in the work. And it's fun to say that, even though it's only taken one actual prize card, but the way that it's keeping her from setting up is really what is impressive. We've now got Togekiss and Togetic on the field. The army is just growing so fast. And Make It Rain to take out Duskull. Togekiss, the one that Kumachi does have out, has the ability Precious Gift, which allows them to draw until they have 8 cards in hand. This isn't something they need to do right now, though, because they've got plenty. Pandora is getting another basic Pokemon onto the bench, and it is hard in this situation to choose which. Do you want to set up another Dreepy? The answer is yes, apparently. She already does have a Dragapult on the field, but it being the main attacker in this deck, you can never have too many. And for just that one energy, it's going to deal 70 damage with Jet Headbutt, putting a decent dent in Goldango. If Dragapult can survive long enough to get its Phantom Dive attack out, as you can see, it'll deal 200 damage, which will be enough to take out Goldango and deal a significant amount of energy to the bench, which is really good where Kumachi has 2 not fully evolved Pokemon out. Another Gimmighoul on the board. Honestly, at this point, it's not even about... There's 12 cards in the hand. I was going to say it's not even about using Tinkaton, because Goldango's been doing all of the damage. But there it is. It is on the board. That's what, 330 damage for that big hammer attack, and the energy's already on Tinkaton. That is enough if they can switch out to take out Pandora's Dragapult. Scary. But just because I'm able to see that from here doesn't mean they see it on, the actual playing field. Sometimes, especially when you're competing for real, you don't think of everything, and that's perfectly fine. And even if they let Goldango get sacked, it's not like that's the end of the world, because that 330 is only going to get bigger. I hope you guys like seeing Dragapult EX, because I've just not been stopping it from appearing over and over. And I hope you like seeing Dragapult EX, because we've got 2 of them in this tournament. How fun. We are, if I recall, yet to see the Illustrator Rare for Dragapult EX, which I love, purely because it is done by the marvelous Jerky, my favorite Pokemon card artist. So she's got her second energy out, but it is a fire energy, which what she needs is a psychic so that she can use Phantom Dive and get that damage. That 70 will not quite be enough. I did not see what she just attached. Sorry, I was too busy talking about Dragapult. Oh yeah, she attached it for the energy. Sorry. I forgot that this is what it looks like to do the counters. So that's 300 on Goldango and enough on Gimme Goal for another takeout, being 3 prize cards and swinging this game in Pandora's favor, or at least swinging it in her favor prize card wise. There is still enough damage from that Tinkaton to significantly hurt Pandora's game, but it definitely keeps her in and makes this much more competitive. You love to see when things work out. That was Morty's Conviction, which allows for there now to be 12, which is 360 damage on the board. More than enough to take out the Dragapult. And there it is. We're seeing it. That's Tinkaton's whole deal, is getting those huge attacks out. I actually, off the top of my head, can't think of a Pokemon that could survive the now 420 damage that the Tinkaton is dealing. What you need in this situation is Iono or anything else that makes them shuffle their hand back into their deck and kind of reset the growing threat that is Tinkaton. We are getting another Duskull back out. Might as well. Because if she can eventually get that Dusknoir out, that's big damage. Even just a Dusclops would be great in this situation. So as long as one of those many cards is not like a boss's orders, then there might be a chance for Pandora to do something. But with 14 cards in hand, the likelihood that you have a boss's orders, especially because I don't think Kumachi's used one so far. 15 cards now. Boss's orders doesn't win the game immediately, but it does get rid of the potential of another Dragapult. The difficulty in getting Psychic Energy onto the Dragapults has really been making things tough for Pandora. But let's see if that is even more cards in the deck and even more cards in their hand. 14, another 420 damage big hammer if they should choose to use it. There is a chance that if turn off timer, if competitors want to turn off timer, they can. I think it would be nice just because people have not been playing as often. It might take a little bit longer to think about things, and that's perfectly valid. That is up to the discretion of the people playing. because I think you should all be allowed to think about what what you're doing in the amount of time. I don't have plans. I have nowhere to be. If you want to take a 20-minute turn, I'll be here. I'll keep talking. I love talking. Can you coach Dora between matches? I guess, yeah. I assume that especially those who are streaming are getting some support from chat or whatever. And if you're not, your chats should be helping you out more, I think. So yeah, I think use all your resources, honestly. As long as you're not like DDoSing someone or anything, no physical threats, then I think that, yeah, whatever's fair. And now that I'm done ranting, I've not even been looking at the game. There are 17 cards in hand, but Togekiss out on the field. Mimikyu is in the front to not take damage from Rollbox Pokemon, allowing Pandora time to set up more. My microphone's picking something up. You were practicing yesterday and the only advice people gave was your deck list could have been better. You know, it always can be. But that's still something. Now, would that be applicable during a tournament? Probably not, but at least they gave you something. I think last time I played TCG on stream, all I received was like a yikes. Anyway, Mimikyu is gone, leaving Dragapult in the front with 1 prize card for Kumachi and 3 for Pandora. If she can get that psychic energy, that would be enough to take out Togekiss and not quite enough to take out another Pokemon. So it would give her another prize card. Oh, the turn timer's on. I hate that. It is a tough call to make here. There's really no perfect choice in Pandora's situation, because if Tinkaton comes back out, I believe 18 cards in hand will definitely be enough to take out Dragapult EX. So if they've got anything to get that Tinkaton out, that pretty much spells game. And if they don't, it's still a tough spot for Pandora to be in. In these situations, you hope that your opponent is not paying attention to their deck and simply draws all of their cards. That is now 2 Tinkatons on the field. It kind of feels like Kumachi is just kind of thinning out their deck. Iono, however, is exactly what Pandora needed in this situation. It is crazy to think that with 21 cards in hand that none of them were able to get Tinkaton out. This gives Pandora probably one more turn, unless the Tinkaton engine is even more impressive than I think. But as long as there's no way for them to bring something other than Dragapult out to the front, that's time bought for Pandora. Even if she is down 2 prize cards to 1, or down by 2 prize cards, you cannot say that she is not putting up a fight. In the face of 21 cards in hand and Tinkaton, she did not waver. did forget about Precious Gift, though, which allows for drawing back up to 8, meaning next turn things are going to get dicey. Crispin is going to allow for her to get 0 basic energy cards because they are all assumedly in her discard, possibly prize cards. That is another 70 on Goldango. Without that psychic energy, though, even Dragapult EX isn't enough to deal that damage to take him out. And even if it did, Nimona got her up to that 11, which is all she needs to take out Dragapult. With that second energy placed, retreating into Tinkaton for game, I can only assume. For a great game, if I'm being honest, a really good game to watch. Great job to both players on that one. Even in the face of adversity, Pandora kept fighting, but Kumachi's pressure was on. 570 to 1030 damage dealt. So we're going to switch back to our bracket, and Kumachi will move up. Oopsie daisy. She'll move up, and Pandora will meet Lucy in the loser's bracket. And next, I'm going to call in our winner of that match. Let's bring them in. Hello. Oh, they're deafened. They can't hear me. Let me ask them. Sorry, my keyboard's so loud. All right. Hello. What a good game. Let me turn you up. That was a lot of fun to watch. I can only imagine playing it. That was back and forth, really.
What?
I know.
I can't hear you now.
Oh, can you hear me still?
Yes.
I know towards the end there, Pandora started getting a lot of her cards out. Did you start getting afraid that things were going to turn on you?
Oh yeah, I was so nervous. I was like, oh my god. I was like, and then Ino came out, and I was like, oh no, oh no.
That really was crazy Iono timing, but with Togekiss, which you had, you know, plenty of Togekiss backup, you were just able to get that engine running again so fast.
Yes. Yeah, Togekiss was the GOAT.
That was a great game, and I'm really hoping to see even more of that Togekiss action going into your next winner's game. Do you have anything else you'd like to say to the viewers before I send you back?
No, I just like Tinkaton's just a lot of fun. I just really like playing it.
Love to hear that. That's what matters most. All right. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right. And now we're going to move back to our... Move back to our original round 1 now that iSuicide is back and ready to go. So I'm going to call them back in, and we can finish our last round 1 game. Let's get them called up. I believe they are both ready, that is. Oh, yep. Sorry. Once again, typing and talking, not my best. And I want to announce them, make sure they all know, give everyone ample time to be ready. Make sure that I'm doing this bracket right once again, and while they start setting up their live, let's check on our fundraiser. Is still at $115 out of $200. We are doing so much great work, you guys. We are over halfway already to raising our goal for a wonderful cause. And is someone ready to stream this match? We'll just keep rocking out while we wait. It's a great playlist. Oh, it's up. It's up, so we're gonna switch on over. We are now back with Inky versus Isuasai. As a reminder, this is really an evolutions deck versus a future deck, which is two very fun concepts. I love cohesiveness outside of the world too, like in game, kind of like the Team Rocket decks that there were back in the day, Team Magma. Decks with a cohesive theme that's not just type, I guess, is a good way to put that. And first on the field, we have two Psychic types. Speaking of type, Mew EX and Iron Crown. We're seeing Hoot Hoot and two Knocked Owls in hand, meaning that Inky has a good line for setting up. Hello, Ant Does Art. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the game. Are you the ant? Are you the ant that single-handedly made this all happen? Isuasai with Arven, discarding Arven to get Pokemon out on the field. We're seeing a lot of movement very fast, and now Miraidon is out and using Peak Acceleration to deal 60 damage to Mew. That also is putting energy on Iron Hands in the back, once again for Amp You Very Much, which deals decent enough damage and gives you an extra prize card if you KO with it. It's a scary position for Inky to be in. And it is you. You are the ant. Thank you so much for what you've done for the Jon Herndon Foundation in this time already. Welcome to the chat, and I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're watching. And I'm glad that you're you. Techno Radar allowing for even more future Pokemon to come out into Isuasai's side of the field. That is what now? 3 Iron Crowns? 3 Iron Crowns, an Iron Hands, and a Miraidon against just a Mew and a Hoot Hoot. So a very scary position to be in if you are Inky. But with Ultra Ball, maybe things can really start moving. What are we going to see here? EVEX, a very reasonable choice to get that ability to quickly get out an evolution, a big, strong EX Pokemon, given he can draw one. Or get one with Jewel Seeker. What just happened there? Oh, there we go. Love TCG Live, man. Great game. So we've got Crispin and Terra Orb in hand. Terra Orb, I will need a reminder of what it does. It just gets you a Terra Pokemon, which is actually huge for EVEX. And Crispin, as you just saw, let Inky get different colored energies, which is perfect for a Terra Pokemon that requires those different colors to use their attacks. Flareon is in hand, but we'll need to wait before it gets on the field. Mew is going to go back and send in Noctowl, presumably as cannon fodder. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And that's okay. With a new hand, Flareon is gone, which is brutal for Inky, but a great play on Isu's part, because they had to reveal that Flareon, so Isu knew it was there and got rid of it quick. 4 energies on Iron Hands. It is growing back there. Tension is brewing. It has enough energy to now gain those extra prize cards. And it's looking like it's going to happen. It is out on the field. Noctowl doesn't have great HP. Oh, but Arm Press. 440 damage. That is insane. That is from the Noctowl weakness, by the way. 440, not 440 raw. We're also seeing research on the heavy baton. Ultra Ball is out, presumably to get one of those evolutions back that Inky lost to Iono. And there it is. Flareon is back. Eevee is evolved. Into Flareon. Let me find the button. Sorry. And that's 3 energies on Flareon. That's enough to use its attack, which does 280 damage. It does make it so that Flareon can't attack next turn, but 280 is probably worth it against the 230 HP Iron Hands, even if you can't attack next turn. He is also going to use Flip the Script, taking advantage of that knockout last turn to draw some extra cards and start setting up their next Eevee EX, because Flareon is going to be in the open after this attack. 280 damage and 2 prize cards to Inky. Flareon and Boss's Orders, 2 really good prize cards to get there. Mardon is back to the front with 3 energies. I'm going to stop throwing Flareon in your face. Sorry about that. And Future Booster Energy Capsule, which I can never say in one attempt. That is a very set up Miraidon. And now a very set up hand, thanks to Professor's research. And another Iron Hands on the board. And another Iron Crown. If I had a nickel for every Iron Crown Aisu had on the field, I would have 4 nickels, which is pretty decent. Inky is in a good spot in a vacuum. They've got good cards in their hand. They've got good cards in the field, but it is definitely tough to think about what is happening across from them and not be a little bit worried. A lot of trainer cards in this deck, so a lot of options for Inky here. So many options to where the turn timer is turning on, putting that pressure. Inky has so many cards in hand, you'd think he was playing Tinkaton, but every card has a purpose. He's definitely thinking of something, such as getting Flareon out. And getting even more EX Pokemon in hand. And with another Eevee, we could be looking at a third Flareon or our first Sylveon, which could be nice in the situation that Inky is in. Flareon can't attack, or at least that Flareon can't attack, but by switching out, Burning Charge can be used, and basic energies are going to get attached to the bench. I didn't even think about the switch, I'm not gonna lie. It was very golden. I couldn't really tell what it was, but that was a perfect play on Inky's part to get that KO and set up his EVs on the bench even more. There's not enough energy on Iron Hands right now to get that extra prize card, which would be really nice for Aisu in this situation. Help even out the playing field a little bit. And you can tell that that pressure is weighing on Aisu a little bit, as they are really thinking about what their next move is going to be. Iron Bundle. That is 4 Iron Crowns, an Iron Bundle, and an Iron Hands. a very full side of the field for Aisu, but the damage has not been there, at least not yet. But Countercatcher's bringing out Mew, who does not have the same damage capabilities that Flareon has, buying some time for Aisu. But with a 0 retreat cost, it does not mean too much, which I forgot about too, so oops. And that is 2 more prize cards for Inky, putting Aisu in a tough spot with no Iron Hands on the field and a 5-1 prize card deficit. But we're going to see more future Pokemon to the hand, a 3rd Iron Hands, and an Iono, which is actually exactly what Aisu needed in this situation to give Inky less options. Inky, like I said earlier, had Tinkaton levels of draws there, so now with only an Iono, all Inky can do is replace that one card. It might, yeah, I was gonna say, just be worth it for Burning Charge to come out for that KO on Iron Bundle and the last prize card of the game. That's a great job from both players. Aisu had an insane setup, but those new Terra evolutions, they just deal massive damage. So let's move on back to our bracket for our last round 1 movement. Inky is moving up to winners round 2, and Aisu will be meeting with Sylvari in losers round 1. It's also been reported to us off stream that Lucy and Pandora's match ended with a Pandora win, 0-6 prize cards. So Pandora will move on to the next round, and Lucy, thank you so much for attending, and we will hear from her again hopefully soon. Sorry, I just moved myself to the wrong chat instead of moving our guest in, which he's already in here. I'm really fumbling right now. Let's move back to the desk, and I am going to unmute. Inky, hello.
Oh.
Can you all hear?
Surely.
There's no way it would happen again. All right. No one said yes, but I'm assuming it's true because...
Yes. The confidence is necessary for streaming. Fake it till you make it.
All right. What a good game. That is the first time I think I've actually seen the evolutions in action.
Yeah. The cards are so unruly. They just like... if you can get my Flareon going, if you can get my Sylveon going, which it was very doubtful in the beginning. That was my first game I've played of that deck without having Fan Rotom.
Yeah.
So I did a few quick passes, and luckily from my stadium and from my draws afterwards, I was able to bring it back.
That was... I know in the beginning when you were choosing between Eevee and Fan Rotom, I was shocked, for lack of a better word, that you chose Eevee, but it was the right choice, and that's why you're down there and I'm up here, you know?
Oh my god.
That's why I'm watching from up here. That
Yeah.
was something, it was worth the wait, you know? getting to come back
For
after
sure.
a little bit, and hopefully that
Isu
momentum is going to
is-
continue.
Yeah, I'm sure Isu's going to do very well. It was a pleasure playing again against a competitor who actually had a stable internet connection, having
That is
it be
true.
more fair.
It definitely made for a more
Okay.
exciting game, I assume, especially for
Yeah.
you all not having to wait. And hopefully that keeps up for their sake and all of ours. But until then, do you have anything else you would like to say before you get sent back?
Yeah. Please go easy on me. This Chiampao is very scary. I mean, please don't douse my flames too quickly. Just give me a little chance.
You heard it here first. A beg for mercy. And with
Please,
that,
please.
we will see you again later, Inky.
Thank you, Aiden.
Wonderful. Let me turn our music back on. And with that, we have completed at least winners round 1 of the second Hayden IRL tournament. For the sake of mixing things up, I am going to ask QB and Kumachi to come back in so that Inky does not have to play twice in a row. So I'm going to call them in. This is an opportunity for me to also say, once again, how excited I am to have such a great variety of decks in this tournament. Like I said to Inky, I've not even seen the Evolution deck be played, at least not in that capacity. And that's really fun. That's really cool. It's almost like a tribal deck in Magic, and like I said, I love those. This next match will be, if I recall, Tinkaton versus Xianpao, which is very exciting. And I believe that QB is ready to stream. Oh, Kumachi needs 1 minute. That's all good, because that gives us time to talk, which I love to do. How is everyone in chat doing today on this wonderful weekend? I'm doing wonderful, in case you're wondering. I'm doing wonderful because I am spending time with all of you and all of our wonderful competitors to support a great cause, which is the Jon Herndon Foundation, a small charity out of Southwest Virginia, supporting families in their fight with cancer to alleviate some of the financial burdens and reduce the stress of such a horrible disease. Pandora, I bet you are good because you are playing so wonderfully right now in this tournament. Aunt Desart is also good. I'm glad everyone's doing good. You love to hear it. While we wait, Tank is loving the games. Well, you know, I'm loving Tank. If I had a picture of him, I'd put him up on stream, but I don't think I do, so I can't. I also failed to mention earlier, all of the beautiful competitors are not in the description below at this moment, but after probably this winner's match, we will, or the one after, we'll take a short, like 5-minute intermission, mostly so I can use the restroom, and I will add those. So I apologize to all of the competitors for not having done that earlier, and to all of you for not giving you immediate access to all of our wonderful players. I believe that our players are ready. So let me oh, that's not the right one, but also I'm gonna get rid of Inky while I'm over here. And let's go. All right, let's change our competitors, because this is now a match of... Oh, I changed my font. Oh, this is so embarrassing. What do I even do here? That's okay, we'll just leave this font. It's okay. This is QB versus Kumachi. And now it's in a Roboto font. Way less cute and fun, but it's okay. We're seeing Xianpao on QB's side and a Frigibax, which is a great start. Facing across against 2 Gimmighouls and a Togepi. There is a lot of Pokemon really on the field. Great setup for both is potential here. I think QB understands how important those benched Pokemon are going to be to the Tinkaton deck, and she's going to start setting up Glaceon, because as she mentioned, Glaceon is great for taking out the benched Pokemon. Whittling away at them, I guess, at least. Know the font? Yeah, I kind of feel like that episode where SpongeBob became normal. I feel like I'm writing a research paper instead of hosting a tournament now. All right, we've got... Glaceon is on the field already. And very little additional setup done on Kumachi's side, which is scary. QB considering the boss's orders, which is fairly early, but they know how fast Kumachi can set up, so they want to get rid of that Tinkaton, or potential Tinkaton, as early as possible. I assume, at least. Discarding both to ensure that KOs. Little to worry about. They know that they'll be able to get those water energies back into the deck and into the hand and onto the field in due time. Kumachi is looking for another Goldango EX and hoping that it can pull the same stunts that it was doing last game. And there it is, Goldango EX on the field. The drawing can begin, but what good is all those cards if we don't have a Tinkaton to use them? They're still pretty good, I won't lie. And with 2 Goldango EXs, we're even more secure in our ability to make those big draws. Another coin bonus. And it is now QB's turn again. getting out the Baxcalibur, the engine, it begins. Shivery Chill puts those energies into QB's hand. And we're going to draw 2 more cards, thanks to Morty's conviction. 1 for each Pokemon that Kumachi has on the bench, being Black Belt's training and an Ultra Ball. Using the Ultra Ball, QB is looking for something. Really, where they have so much, it's hard to say what the best option is, but they went with Fezzadent. I actually don't remember what it's called, if I'm being honest. But even more important is we have all of the energies played now onto the field, which is enough for Xianpao to deal massive damage if it so chooses. This is a crazy looking UI. I feel like I've not seen it look like this before. You can see QB counting her water energy. Some visual storytelling there. And it's 300 damage on Goldango for the KO and 2 more prize cards for QB. Coin bonus for another 2 cards, making 8 cards in hand. The draws are there, but the Tinkaton isn't quite yet. Xianpao, even for EX Pokemon, presumably because it's basic, does not have a ton of HP, meaning that Tinkaton doesn't even need too much firepower to take it out if it can get there. The only problem is Kumachi's having some trouble getting there. But with 2 of the little ones on the ground, 2 Tinkatinks, that's double the chance that one of those guys is going to grow into Tinkaton. Precious Gift, once again, bringing the deck back to 8 to then start anew with 4, thanks to Judge. QB discarding the 2 energies there to bring 4 energies back from the discard with superior energy retrieval. And if I were to guess, I'm going to say that those 4 energy are probably going to end up on the field pretty soon. You know what? I think all 6 of those energies are going to end up on the field pretty soon, thanks to Baxcalibur's Super Cold ability. Is the music still coming through for you all? Because I just realized that it's been playing Black and White 2 music. There we go. Sorry, I was looking away. That's 2 more prize cards. Thanks to another Hail Blade from Xianpao. This is a very tough position for Kumachi to be in even with 3 Tinkatinks on the field, what does that mean if none of them can evolve? Even Goldango EX with the damage it can do isn't enough to stop what Xianpao has running here, but with the drawing power of Tinkaton's deck, something could happen, a rare candy even. The only problem is that for every card that Kumachi has to use to get Tinkaton out, the worse Tinkaton's damage is. But unfortunately, nothing's happened yet, and 10 damage has been done to Xianpao. We're seeing another Shivery Chill for 2 more waters. Super Cold to put those on the field, and that might be what spells the end here. QB is not interested in theatrics. She is just putting down the cards and going for the win there. And her last prize card's a Water Energy. How symbolic. What a neat and tied E match. What a great game from both players. Tinkaton is one of those decks where if it's not getting set up, then there's not much you can do. And a lot of that's out of your hands in terms of drawing. You can draw so many cards, but if they're not the right ones, what else is there? So regardless, that was a great match from both players. So on our wonderful display here, I will move our players over. The loser of game 8 will go down here. Good games, Kumachi. You hopefully aren't out yet, of course, because you are in losers. And you are going to find out your opponent momentarily, because also at the same time we've learned that in the match between Isilvari and Aisu Asai, Aisu won 5-0, and so that is moving up for him, and Isilvari is out. A wonderful performance and a wonderful deck, something different, something refreshing. Hopefully we will see more of her in the future. Hopefully this card game has stuck. Next, let's get talking with our winner, QB Buzz.
I don't know if they want to talk to me.
Hello?
Oh, hi!
Hello.
Hello!
What a great game.
Yeah, that's fun.
It is more of what we love to see, which is Xianpao doing what Xianpao does.
Yep. I was kind of scared for a second there because I just didn't have any energy retrievals, and I had 8 of my 10 energies in the discard. So Hail Marrying into the cards that I need to pull the Super Rod and everything really saved me right there.
That is like the one road stop.
Yeah, I was really surprised they didn't have at least 1 steel energy to use for the Goldengos, because my Ice Mons would have been crippled from one attack from a Goldengo. So.
Tinkaton's a funny deck because you can draw sometimes 30 cards in your hand, but if it's not the exact one you need, then there's nothing you can do.
The moment I saw that they had like 8 cards in hand, I'm like, oh, the judge, they're gonna they're gonna hate this because it just cuts their hand in half.
It is brutal to see as both a Tinkaton player and a Tinkaton fan, but you know, it was a great performance, and that's moving on. Xianpao, hype.
Hype.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you.
All right. And that is going to move us into our next winner's side match, which let's check the bracket and see what we've got. it is going to be Dougal versus Inky. Dougal has been waiting for this match, I can only imagine, and for that I do apologize, sir. Whoever would like to stream that, though, come on in. Just let me know and I will take you in for our next Winners Round 2 match. And for those who just came in, we are going to take a little bit of a break after this round, if only for the fact that I need to use the restroom. Sorry, TMI. But luckily, we get one more match before then, so I'm going to take Inky in and get a head start on changing the name here while they start streaming. Oh no, they've started streaming, but I've not gotten the names fixed yet. That's okay. It's okay. Inky versus Dougal. Oops. Okay, let's bring up their stream. Pop out. This will be Flareon, like we saw from Inky earlier, against Dragapult. If you do not remember, is the deck that Dougal is playing. It's been a little bit since we've seen it. And we're in. And while they start flipping coins and all that, correct font. Oh my goodness. I don't think I could have been more wrong. Choice. Much respect. And we've got an EVEX on the field before the match even begins, which is awesome for Inky to have, but Badoo and 2 Dreepies is brutal for Dougal, as it allows no item cards to be played after this turn. But Dougal might not, or Inky might not need any item cards at this point, because Fan Rotom is getting 3 colorless Pokemon into the hand, which is a crazy card I cannot stress enough. And with Terra Orb, one of the 3 Terra Eevees is going to come out, opting for Sylveon in this case. Back to Dougal's side. Let's see what kind of setup can get done. With Badoo in the front and not enough energy for Eevee to attack, that is time bought for Dougal to get those Dragapults ready. And there we see it. Badoo is attacked. Itchy Pollen, making item cards completely unplayable. Luckily for Inky, the item cards that he has at this moment aren't exactly super useful in the situation anyway, so little lost. Noctowl's coming out to retrieve some item cards, or some trainer cards. Ironic for it to be items in this situation, but that's how it is. He can play them later. With Flareon and Sylveon in hand, a choice has to be made. And Sylveon is the choice with the gem not going on, the crystal not going on. Hope you guys have been enjoying Noctowl. I'm going to put him away. Crispin to get the multicolored energies out. Such a fun card. And now Sylveon is set up. To choose 2 benched Pokemon to put back into the deck, which is crazy, very silly, and insane how much that is exactly what Inky needed in this situation to put Dougal in a horrible spot. What a funny card, what a funny ability, and with that itchy pollen, yeah, Inky's not gonna waste any time and take out that Badoo for a very quick winners round 2 match. I'm sorry, I'm not too excited. I'm just kind of at a loss. That was so quick and so crazy. I forgot, if I'm being honest, the professional that I am, that's what Sylveon EX does. So that's insane. I'm just as shocked as you all. That's so fun. So that is a win for Inky, who will be moving up into winners round 3 with QB, which, if you recall, is who they were previously calling for mercy from. On the other end of that is Dougal, who is going to go down, not the bracket down to loser's bracket to face off against Pandora. While that was going on, Aisu Asai and Kumachi had their match, ending in a 6-0 win for Aisu, sorry. So they are going to move up to the next round in losers, making things move along fairly quickly. Let's move over to the desk, and I'm gonna bring Inky in to talk about that quick win. Inky, hello.
Phew.
What a match.
I didn't know where my turn was going until I saw that I was able to get rid of those Dreepies. I had no clue.
We talked about this in the last interview, just how fun and different those EV cards are. I completely forgot that's what Sylveon did, and so I was, my mouth was agape.
It's so overwhelming. It's pretty hard to pull off, just because all of these different kinds of energies that you need to put on Sylveon, but
And it's one thing to get rid of 2 Pokemon on the bench, but it's another thing to get rid of the only 2 Pokemon on the bench, and I think that that really sets you up against Badoo.
And like, if you're Dragapult, you want those 2 Dreepies on the bench, like for being able to evolve, but like, since those 2 Dreepies were out, all of their basic Pokemon were down.
It really was a perfect storm from the Evolutions deck once again. So I will be seeing you again very shortly. We are, however, going to take a little bit of a break. I have to use the restroom. We're going to let some of the losers matches play out and then be back. So I will see you all, Inky included, in about 5 minutes or so, hopefully less.
Thank you.
And let me, gotta turn the TV off before I go, you know. Can't have the power bill riding up. And I will see you all in just a moment. We're back. Hello. Welcome back to the event. Sorry. I'm getting, resituated back in my seat and back into the mode to get this game played. Alright. Music's back on. Or at least it should be. There it is. Okay. So, in review, where we are at. While we were gone, Pandora and Dougal finished their game with Pandora losing 4-5. Dougal wins due to no benched Pokemon. So thank you so much, Pandora, for coming out and being oh so supportive in the chat, and so supportive to the charity. Thank you so much. That means that Isu, Asai, and Dougal will play in losers, and while that's happening, we will have Inky and QB play in winners. For those who don't remember, QB is the one that Inky begged for mercy as he is afraid of the Xianpao engine. Let's see if that comes true as I invite them into their game. I too will be cracking open a cold Dr. Pepper. Let's see if I can get the ASMR going. Did you all hear that? Was it good, if you could hear it? These are the kind of things we gotta know. All right. They are just about ready. I'm gonna take QB in. We'll be seeing from her point of view once again. We still, at this point, are at $115 raised of our $200 goal, raising money for the Jon Herndon Foundation, a small charity out of Southwest Virginia that helps alleviate the financial burden of families who are battling cancer. Thank you all so much for your support of me and the charity. It has been a pleasure. So let's update. Because now it is Inky versus QB in our Roboto black font. I want you to know how fast I'm typing this compared to how slow it is updating. It's not my fault, I promise. I can type faster than one letter every 4 seconds, 5 seconds. I promise, you gotta believe me. We are currently waiting for this match to begin. The Glaceon in QB's deck will be happy to see all of the evolutions that Inky brings to the table. That is, once the match begins. In the meantime, y'all seen any good movies lately? I haven't. I don't know the last time I saw a movie. Too long. I love movies. The Minecraft movie comes out next week. You know I'll be seeing that day one, for better or for worse. An old movie called Z. I don't think I've heard of that. Oh, 1969. When you said old, you meant it. I personally am so excited for the Minecraft movie because if it's good, then it's good and you have a good time. And if it's bad, you still have a good time, probably even a better time. So there is definitely no losing when you go to see the Minecraft movie. I wonder if there is some trouble going on in the background here. Very true. It is very true. I think in my life, have seen maybe only 2 or 3 movies that were so bad that they were actually bad. I feel like most things fall into, for me at least, like, they could at least be so bad they're fun. I think the only example is a movie that came out last year, I believe, called Afraid. But the AI in the middle was like artificial intelligence, and it was like, what if Alexa but bad, but evil? And it was bad, but I don't think in the sense that they wanted. Anyway, Cats, was that for you? You know what? I haven't seen Cats, so maybe I've saved myself from having to add another movie to that list. All right, we are viewing from QB's point of view, taking on Inky. Inky wins the coin flip and is deciding whether or not he would like to go first, and he would. A small start for QB, but she does have the Buddy Buddy Poffin to help fix that next turn. Only a Hoot Hoot on Inky's side. But not for long, because now that Fan Rotom is out, we're going to get 3 more colorless Pokemon onto the field from Inky, or into his hand. We don't know if they're going to be on the field quite yet. Not all of them, but we will see an Eevee and another Hoot Hoot. Terra Orb to bring and Terra Evolution to the hand. Buddy Buddy Poffin is down. Another Eevee. We're seeing Eevees on both sides here. And another Frigibax. QB is having to make some sacrifices to her energy retrieval for the sake of getting out that Xianpao. Something that will probably be worth it. If an I had to guess. And not all of her energy retrieval either. She still has Earthen Vessel that she's playing right now, discarding boss's orders to get those 2 water energies. 1 water energy. Oh, for the sake of optimizing Professor Elm and not having to, or Professor's research of Professor Elm, to not have to discard that other energy. Very smart, knowing she was going to use that. Why send another energy to discard? And with collect, there's one more water energy in the hand. So a very busy turn for QB there, getting out pretty much everything that was not that Frigibax this turn, and having a completely new hand. Sylveon EX, however, is out for Inky, probably thinking at least a little bit on his last game and wanting to get rid of some of those benched Pokemon, which would be very nice against Xianpao, as the engine only runs with all of its parts. I learned that in car school. Inky's even switching into Sylveon. So he's got some plan up his sleeve, using Crispin to get water energy and a psychic energy. Things are coming together for Sylveon, especially with the crystal. We might be seeing another instance of sending those Pokemon back to the deck. A second Noctowl comes out to get a couple more cards. I'm pretty sure it was 2. Yep. Pokemon League headquarters is on the field, which I do not have a picture of to bring up, unfortunately, but it does make it that attacks used by basic Pokemon cost 1 colorless energy more, which is very devastating for Xianpao, a deck that attacks with a basic Pokemon. We also just saw the taking out of one of those Frigibaxi, making it harder for Baxcalibur to come out moving forward. QB's not letting get her down though, using Shivery Chill to get those water energies in her hand. And also getting Xianpao up at the front, so that if Sylveon uses its little bench trick, she won't be losing her main attacker. Angelite, is that how you pronounce that? There's nothing more devastating than watching a player read, like zoom in on one of the cards and read what it does. Oh, sorry, that was right into the microphone. Gross. QB brings out Fan Rotom, hoping to buy time. That extra energy isn't even what is affecting her right now, it's just the inability to get her engine going. Assuming that Baxcalibur was out, then she would be able to have more than enough energy to use her attack. But without Baxcalibur, the Pokemon League headquarters is doing something. And if Fan Rotom retreats back, Sylveon can do some decent damage to Xianpao, or to 2 Pokemon on the bench. Let's find out. EVEX comes out, allowing for Inky to start setting up a second evolution, whether it'll be Flareon or Sylveon. not for sure. What we are for sure, though, is that 2 of those Pokemon are going back to the deck, and I have a decent idea of what I think it's going to be. Yep. Left with just 2 Eevees. QB can't even use Xianpao's attack, as it now requires 3 energy. And without Baxcalibur, she does not have a way to put that energy on to Xianpao. She has half of the plan, getting those energies into the hand, but you can only put 1 energy per turn, and without something that goes past that rule, things have kind of slowed down for QB here. Shivery Chill to get those energies into hand. Might as well hold on to them. Xianpao can survive an attack from Sylveon, meaning that if nothing is done this turn, there is a chance that Xianpao can deal that damage next turn. But even then, with only 3 energies, it won't be enough to take out Sylveon EX. Especially if it were to use Magical Charm, which is its other attack that doesn't send Pokemon back to the bench, because it makes attacks dealt by the opponent's Pokemon deal 100 less damage next turn, which is insanely oppressive, especially in conjunction with the Pokemon League headquarters. So Xianpao's left here being able to do 180 damage, roughly. But then that's reduced by 100 due to Magical Charm, which is really rough for Xianpao here. But giving the buff with the Black Belt's training, it will deal a little more damage, which is good, but not exactly enough to help, especially when you have to discard all of your energy, because now you're left back at square one, 3 turns away from being able to deal damage again. For our collectors in chat, I want it to be known that that Sylveon card used on Inky's side, if you were to have it in real life, would be a $500 card. So that's kind of fun. Xianpao is out, not too surprisingly, with Sylveon being able to whittle it away. But Eevee is now up at the front, hoping to, I guess, either get a Pokemon to evolve or buy time with single prize card Pokemon. Yup, it's a $500 card, Kumachi, which is kind of the problem right now. Like I said, I've not even seen Prismatic Evolutions cards, but maybe one time, and they were like upcharged 200% at least. It's a it's a huge collector set, which is cool and all. It has another Umbreon. How fun! But hopefully, with Journey Together, a lot of people who collect for other reasons than a love of the game aren't loving that set because it doesn't have any of the you know, big Pokemon, any of like the big famous ones. It has some, but you know, it's different. There's no Charizards, there's no Eevees, so some people are upset. That's exactly what yeah. People are not liking Journey Together, and that's why it's the first set I've been able to buy in like 2 drops. But even then, I only bought one. I was only able to get 1 pack because they were so few. Anyway, sorry. Glaceon EX is now on the field for QB, providing something, hopefully a buffer, but still being unable to attack. Sylveon is going to lay damage down on them. Lily and Iono, your beloved. That's fair. I like the choices they made for trainers for this set. The Lily's Clefairy card is extraordinarily cute. I also think it's fun that Hop got cards because a lot of people aren't Hop fans. I have nothing against Hop. I almost like him more because it's funny that he's getting a bunch of cards after him. 160 damage done to Glaceon, but with a second energy, Glaceon will actually be able to attack. And QB's drawing for every card on the bench, being able to fill out her bench a little bit more. But will it be enough? And QB kind of looking around, wondering what she can do in this situation. You've pulled every single N card except for the secret rare and none of the Iono rares. That is pretty crazy. I don't know how many packs you've opened, but even just the consistency of it being all N cards is very crazy. We've only opened 2 packs here, but we did get the full art for it, which is cool. Really, my chase is the Ludicolo card for obvious reasons. Both because it's Ludicolo and I love that guy, and it's done by Jerky, which, as I've stated previously, is the best. That is a win for Inky. Inky, the oppression in the beginning, getting rid of Frigibax and QB's other resources for setting up, left Xianpao with very little to do, and the addition of Pokemon League headquarters making it need an extra energy in addition to not being able to get their energy on the field is something else. So with that, Inky is moving on to winners finals, or I guess grand finals. That would be in the case that they, you know, need another one. And QB will be moving into losers finals. And while that match was going on, Aisu Asai and Doogie fought, and Aisu won 6 prizes to 0, bringing Aisu up. Oh, nope. Bringing Aisu up to face QB in losers finals. This would be a stream match if you guys would like to do that. If QB is comfortable playing again immediately. And then let's give QB a second to decompress while I interview our winner of that match. Let me go back to our commentary desk and then bring in Inky. Inky, hello.
Hello.
Welcome back. You've made it back again.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad Sylveon exists. I was so close to not including them, but it's made all the
It
difference.
truly has. This is the second time in a row that it has paid off for you exponentially.
Mhm.
Xianpao, Xianpao's not that scary. You didn't have anything to be afraid of.
Unfortunately for B, I learned the TCG playing Qianpao Excalibur. So I don't know. I knew that those Frigibaxes,
Oh yeah.
they looked innocent, but if you allow them to stay on the bench for too long, they can spiral out of control.
You're exactly right. Xianpao's not scary, but Excalibur
True.
is scary. Anyway, that was another wonderful showing. You have a little bit of a break while we do losers.
Cool.
You know, rest, get a drink, think about Excalibur some more, and we will see you again soon. All right. We're going to bring QB back. We're going to see from her point of view once again her match against Aisu Asai. And while they start getting it ready, once again I'm going to fight with Stream Elements to get this chat changed. And QB is streaming. Let's check it out. All right, so as a reminder, this is QB's Xianpao Glaceon deck versus Asu Asai's Future deck. And it is coming up momentarily on your screens. There it is. Awesome. And with 2 Frigibax and a Xianpao, I do not believe that QB could ask for a better starting hand. I do think that what we saw there was her realizing that she wanted to put Xianpao in the lead position, but hopefully that won't come back to bite her. She's reading up real quick on Iron Crown and Miraidon, and is already looking at preparing to retreat that Frigibax. It is scary, as this deck sets up very fast and gets energy out very quickly, so it is scary to have Frigibax out in the front against Miraidon. And that is exactly why, because Frigibax is already out. And I do not think I mentioned it in the beginning, and that's totally my bad. But Iron Crown EX, his ability Cobalt Command makes it so your EX, is it your EX future Pokemon? I think it's just your future Pokemon. All of your future Pokemon deal 20 more damage per attack, and it is stackable, and that is why we see so many Iron Crowns on the field at any given moment. Two Xianpaos and a Frigibax out, and a lot of energy retrievals and energy in hand. Things are looking pretty good for, well, I was gonna say looking pretty good for QB, but with Iono, things could get better or they could get worse. And arguably better with a little more options to get different Pokemon out there. Without Excalibur, you really don't need all of those energies at one time. Iron Hands, however, is getting a lot of energies on it. Way more than enough, actually. So if it gets out on the field, that is going to be prize card city for Asai. Isu Asai. Peak acceleration, both letting Miraidon deal 100 damage and put more energies out on Iron Hands, a second Iron Hands specifically. It's scary stuff for QB here. Buddy Buddy Poffin for 2 more Pokemon out in the field. It's kind of at this point about getting something that can attack. With Rare Candy, that helps set up Frigivax, given... Oh, Ultra Ball makes it so they can get a Baxcalibur and the engine can begin. Hopefully there's enough time for things to get rolling before those Iron Hands move up and start doing what they do. Doing what they do best. Amping you very much, I guess, for a lack of a better word. Four basic energies put onto the field. That is more than enough for Miraidon to be taken out. The only problem is what is going to happen once Iron Hands takes the front. But that is a risk that QB is willing to take. Maybe that prize card is the card she needs to save her boss's orders, which is fairly helpful in most situations. We are definitely looking at an Iron Hands attack if I had to guess, and with another Iron Crown out on the field, even more damage is going to be dealt, even though the base damage of that attack is enough for a KO and amp you very much. 200 damage, and that is prize card city for a Suicide, leaving them with 2 remaining, meaning even a base KO on Xianpao will be enough to win this game. Getting the energies in hand, and really getting those energies in hand. Discarding cards. They're debating on whether or not it's worth it to get rid of Baxcalibur, and I personally agree it probably was. If they can get rid of one Iron Hands, even if they lose the game, they or if they lose the war, they'll have won a battle, and that is worth something for sure. The problem is the Iron Hands in the back that can get that energy back quite quickly. Getting some drawing power on the board with the Xianpao that was knocked out last turn. Using Oh, well then they might use it. Yeah. Fezdipity's ability. Once again, I don't really know how to pronounce it. Bring back basic Pokemon and the 1 energy back to the deck, but will it be enough? The problem is that if Qianpao's KO'd by any move, then it is game over. Some serious math going into this. Making sure it deals the perfect amount of damage with Hail Blade to take out Iron Hands. Well, one Iron Hands. Once again, maybe some perfect prize cards. That Iron Hands has more than enough energy to use Ampu very much, but it's not a KO with the damage that is currently on Qianpao. Meaning that there's a chance. QB does stand a chance. If Qianpao can take out another Iron Hands and not fall to the second one in 1 turn, like if it can't set up quick enough. Oh wait, it did 20. Future boost capsule. Sorry. Awkward. Forgot that's what's happening. I was kind of talking and not paying attention. Good games. That was great, and that was a great display from both players in this match and throughout this whole tournament so far. QB fought her heart out, and that's awesome to see. So I am going to move on to our bracket, and where Isuasai is now going to face off against Inky again, now in grand finals. QB had a great run. QB, we thank you very much. We at the Hayden IRL Corporation and at the Jon Herndon Foundation, thank you so much for your contributions to this event. I'm going to, however, bring in our winner from that match. Let me go back to the desk and let's bring in Isuasai. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. What a great showing.
Thank you, thank you. I kind of wish you saw some of the losers bracket games because some of those were intense.
I
But
was thinking that you've absolutely ravaged the losers bracket to this point.
yeah, I mean,
Oh, you go.
I think the problem with Inky's deck against me is just that Stadium is so brutal against me because I have the super high 4 energy cost.
That is
And
true.
I think in that game I had like 6 energy in the discard pile and I just could not find anything.
But you've had time to think about it too, and kind of plan that energy use system. You've had 4, or I guess, 4 big wins to bring that confidence back up going into this grand finals match.
I mean, all the competitors I played against have been super good. I've really enjoyed playing against all of them, and just the entire tournament so far. It's been super fun.
It's been wonderful seeing every match, and everyone brought such fun decks, and that's really the best part about playing at this level, is that you can play with whatever you want and still have a great time.
Yeah, I'm so glad didn't only 2 people have Badoo?
Yeah, and only 2 people had Badoo.
Oh, that was so nice. No item locking all the time. Oh,
That's brutal, especially for a future deck like that.
yeah. I mean, item
Anyways-
lock isn't
oh,
too bad for me since I think most of my I can pretty easily deal with Badoo.
yeah, I
but
guess
it's
once you get
just a
started,
bit
then
annoying.
it's just in that really early game trying to get those energies on quick.
Yeah.
But once you're going, and hopefully you're going to be going straight into our grand finals match. I
Yeah,
will
we'll see the rematch of the century.
call you back in just a little bit to start that match.
Okay.
All right. So we are going to, I think, you know what? We're also going to bring Inky in for a little pre-game interview going into this grand finals match because that is, I think, only fair. You know, we're going to give both of our competitors I'm gonna bring Inky in. Inky, hello. Welcome back. How are you feeling going into this grand finals match?
I'm feeling good. I don't have that much experience against this this future box, but hopefully things go like last time and I can tough it out.
It is definitely an interesting competition we have here because, of course, your deck is very new, being like one set old, and the future cards have been around for, in the grand scheme, a very long time. So, old heads versus new heads going on here.
Yeah, beginning of Scarlet Violet versus its final run.
So, if you have any final words to say before we start, now is your chance.
Thanks for putting on this tournament. I've had a lot of fun, and I hope that this final is worth the it's worth the hype. I think that the narrative is crazy here.
You know what?
We played each other in
I think so too.
round one, and now
You played each other
we're
twice in
coming
round
back.
one, if we're being honest.
Actually, very true.
It doesn't get better than this. All right. Without further ado, let's start moving on.
Awesome.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. It is time now, everybody, for our grand finals match. For reference, if Inky wins, it is the end. Inky is our grand finals winner. If Isua Sai wins, he will have to run it back again and beat Inky a second time to double eliminate him. So we could be in for 2 more games or just 1, but either way, it is going to be great. And as they are preparing, let's check on everything while they get ready. You know, they've got to get out the nerves and all that. It's going to be a crazy match, and they know it. While they are preparing that, one more time before this match, I would like to remind you all what we're doing it for, and that is the Jon Herndon Foundation, a small charity out of Southwest Virginia, helping raise money for families who are battling cancer. This helps alleviate a lot of the stressors that come with financial burdens brought on by such a terrible disease. Thank you all so much for supporting, whether it be through donations or just by coming and checking us out and listening to and spreading what is such a great cause. And with that, I believe it is time. From Inky's point of view, we are going to go into our grand finals match. Oops, I always have a card going. All right. We are waiting on the match to begin, giving me ample time to change this. I have, of course, have to share that it's grand finals, which is going to take 8 years to update on here. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting amped. I'm getting amped for this grand finals match, you could say. This could be it. A Suicide is playing for everything. This is their bracket match. But if they win, they get another shot and potentially the win. Inky is choosing whether or not he wants to go first. A tough call to make, but he chooses that he will. And a great hand to start off with EVEX, Hoot Hoot, and Mew. He puts Mew up front for safety purposes with a 0 retreat cost. 2 mulligans from Isua Sai, and that's actually the first mulligan we've seen on stream this whole time, so hopefully that is not the be-all end-all for his game. Inky is keeping Eevee in hand, waiting for a good time for it to be played. Iron Crown comes out. Doesn't actually do much on its own, but it is nice to have out for when a future card makes its way to the field. Inky's got Fan Rotom out to make Fan Call and really fill up their field. They're debating on what they want, and they go for a second Hoot Hoot. Terra Orb gets out Flareon EX. And with EVEX and Eevee on the board, Flareon has 2 options, but Inky chooses to go for the Flareon EX immediate placement, as Eevee's ability allows for it to be evolved on the turn that it is played, while EVEX would have had to wait until next turn. A Suicide is getting out his absolute army of future Pokemon, making it so that even if Flareon gets set up quick, there will be benched Pokemon there to save it. That being said, though, with the Pokemon League headquarters out on the field, Iron Hands has a lot more work to do to bring itself up to the ability to use Ampu very much. That makes it now a 5 energy attack. And with Iron Crown's retreat cost, it seems as though Miraidon can't get out to start bringing those energies in even quicker. We see Noctowl and an opportunity to get some item cards out, or just trainer cards. They don't have to be items. I don't discriminate here. That's not what we do in this chat. With so many options, it's a bit of a tough call, but Inky's going to go for the Terra Orb, an opportunity to evolve Eevee EX. And we're going all out attack with a second Flareon instead of the Sylveon. that we've seen in the past couple games. Earthen Vessel to get out some more energy, or at least get more energy ready to be put out. Put them into their hand. Also, I feel like we need to point out that Inky is using the classic energy designs, which is very fun. Nest Ball for another Hoot Hoot to prepare for another Noctowl next turn, and a Water Energy onto Flareon. Knowing that Miraidon is going to help set up that Iron Hands, Inky takes it to the front and Burning charges it. That is both for a KO and the ability to move some energies on to Flareon to prepare its even stronger attack. What a large move from Flareon there, and a Professor's Research. Now it can use its second attack for 280 damage next turn, being able to KO pretty much anything that Isu can put in front of it. But luckily there's a second Iron Hands out now to also get energies started to placed onto it. As a reminder, Pokemon League headquarters makes it so that Iron Hands needs an extra colorless energy to attack, making Ampu very much a 5 energy attack. A second Miraidon has hit the field and is now being set up, prepped for helping Iron Hands once again, but oh, it's out in the field. Still no energy on it, however. So unless another interesting choice to bring Mew to the front, a Pokemon that can retreat for free, but I think it's easy to overlook that. It is an EX Pokemon, so your assumption it would be that it would have a larger retreat cost, but moving it to the front actually doesn't do anything because it can retreat for nothing, and Flareon is back out again. And Boss's Orders brings out the second Iron Hands that was being set up, and it is taken out with a 280 damage attack from Flareon. That is brutal to see. Luckily though, the tool attached to Iron Hands let it move energy back to the other Iron Hands, and if we can get 2 more energy on it this turn, even then, I actually don't think it would be enough to take out Flareon. Flareon can't attack next turn, so with the right set of moves, there can be a 3 energy swing. Another Iron Hands comes out, but no energy makes its way on the field, putting a Suicide on a tough spot. Inky is in a wonderful spot in terms of prize cards, but not being able to attack this turn leaves them with less options than usual. They're kind of just twiddling their thumbs, wondering what the best next move would be. Another turn where very little is happening. Things have kind of slowed down as neither player is able to either attack due to energy or attack due to their attack effects. But that 220 not being enough to take out Flareon, and Flareon should be able to feast once again on another Iron Hands, leaving a Suicide not only with no Iron Hands with energy on them, but also no cards in hand, really. Crispin and Fan Rotom. The only saving grace is that Flareon can't attack again this turn, but with enough energy on Flareon to retreat and an energy in hand, it truly looks like this is Inky's Grand Finals match to win. Flareon comes up, goes for the attack, and takes their final prize card. Just as Asu Asai predicted, that Pokemon League headquarters really did numbers on that Iron Hands. What a great game. You love to see that. It's a grand final between two great players, two players who did wonderfully throughout this whole tournament. We couldn't have asked for more. They met in round 1 of winners. They were the first game that we played, and here they are also being our last. That is absolutely wonderful. I'm going to take the opportunity to talk to both players after I update our bracket with an Inky win. Look at that. Look at him go. Why can't I move him? Look at him go. What a great tournament for such a great cause. Thank you all so much. Let's hear from our new grand champion, Inky. Hello. Hello again. Oh yeah. Listen, I had trouble deciding if I wanted to use your Twitter profile picture or your Discord profile picture because they're both just so great. You have such an affinity for little guys that it, a man of my own heart, you know? Speaking of little guys, oh yeah, thank you. I was very excited about it. You know, I couldn't have you coming out here with your whole like flesh thing. We don't do that here.
No, it'd be totally inappropriate.
Anyways, what a great win. It's played out pretty much the same as the first time that you guys met. That Pokemon League headquarters does numbers for you.
The moment that I saw that in my opening hand, I was like, I felt equally bad as I did good because I mean, I know that they aren't playing stadiums, they aren't playing, like, Lugia isn't a thing, they aren't getting rid of it. Yeah.
It actually worked out perfect for you that things rotated just yesterday, because I will say there would have been Lugias in this tournament.
Yes.
Otherwise.
Yes. I was watching Dougal practice for this tournament, and they were playing a lot of Lugia and Archeops, unfortunately.
They sent me their deck list. They were actually the first person to send me one, and I read it and was like, wait. Kale says good job, by the way.
Thank you, Kale, thank you.
From Pandora in chat. And you know what? Good job is in order. That was wonderful.
Yeah. These cards are so cool. I'm glad I got to show them off.
It is, you know, it's nice to see someone using prismatic evolution cards for something other than financial gain. So you know what? That's a win for all of us.
Yes, very true.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming
Thank
and
you.
supporting such a great cause, and great job again. You are now our second ever Hayden IRL TCG tournament champion.
It's an honor. Thank you so much.
We'll have to see you again in the All-Star match. Thank you again,
I'm
and I
excited.
will see you later.
Thank you.
And now let's tune in. Isu.
Hello.
Hello. You predicted it.
Yes, I did.
It's kind of hard to be too upset when you had already made peace with exactly the card that you saw.
Yeah, I was fighting an uphill battle. I will say I'm happy with how far I got with, especially losing the first round, and I only lost Enki. I'll say that much.
That was an insane performance. The losers bracket sweep, really.
Yeah.
And yeah, you only lost to one person in a double elimination tournament. You can still tell people you only lost to one person. Either way.
But yeah, it was super fun. I'm glad I got to. I was telling you this when I was first building my deck, but I'm super glad that future Pokemon in general are like viable, just because I love all of them so much, especially Iron Hands. I mean, like an Iron Hands is like a mainstay on my main Violet team.
Uh-huh.
Give me a sec.
That does work out perfect. I think there's nothing better than being able to use Pokemon that you like, whether that be in the TCG or in the video games.
Yeah, it's super fun. Sorry, my mom came over for a second.
No, you're good. I filled the void. I talked.
Yeah, donate to the foundation. Anyone who's listening, if you're able
Word.
to. Thank
The link's
you
down
for
below.
inviting me.
Thank
It
you
was
for coming.
super fun to play. Thank you, everyone, for being great competitors. Very fun to play against everyone.
Such wise words. Wise beyond your years you are.
Also, to any shiny hunters in chat, when I was in between games, I was working on my Pokedex, and I just randomly found a shiny Mankey in Violet.
Dude. So maybe you really are the winner tonight.
Yeah. Maybe the real tournament was the friends we made along the way.
That's, you know what? That's what I've been saying this whole time. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for attending. I
Yes.
will hopefully hear from you again soon, and everyone check out Isu. Their links should be down below, along with everyone else in this tournament. Give them thanks, and give thanks to the Jon Herndon Foundation for all that they do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody else who is here, everybody in chat, everybody who donated, and everybody else. Everyone who's just lurking. Everyone who's ever played the Pokemon card game. Thanks to my mom. The person at the Sheetz gas station who made my breakfast this morning. Thank you to them. And thank you again. Thank you to everyone. I'm just so thankful for such a wonderful event, for such a wonderful cause. I will leave the donation link up, and I will post it probably again on Twitter so that everyone can continue to donate to such a great cause, because even without, doing an event like this or a game to play, it's a good cause, and I think it's something that everyone should check out. I wouldn't have a shirt of it otherwise, and I do have this shirt in real life too, so quote me on that. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and especially those who tuned in for a fairly long event. And until next time, I will see you all later. Thank you so much.